One of the basic factors which is very significant to bring attention to is one of the characteristics of our ego. There was a novel written by the British author Jane Austen, and the title of this book is Pride and Prejudice. It's part of our conditioning, and in our effort to be somebody, to prove I'm right, I'm good, I'm better than the other, and being in the competition and comparison, we get pulled into it, and we are often going in that judgmental way with ourselves and with each other. And we think it is normal. And in a way you can say it is normal because it's part of the egocentric conditioning which we have. But the fact is also that when it goes on unconsciously in us, we are also bound by it. We are also trapped in it. And especially when you want to understand yourself and life more deeply, when you want to become clear, when you want to become free, when you want to allow a really open connection to the reality, when you want to allow the mysterious, the divine, the unknown. So to allow this unknown, we have to consciously put aside all our pride and prejudice. This is one of the basics of the inner transformatory process. And you cannot put it aside without your looking at it, without your bringing attention to what is going on in me. And it is very subtle. So you may think, oh, I'm not so proud. I'm having no prejudices. In the first, when you question, maybe not find some things like that. Sometimes it is not so obvious. But then you consider how in our language, in our upbringing, in our way of categorizing each other, many things are coming in through which we create standards, values, and judge each other, judge ourselves also. So bringing attention to these subtle factors of pride and prejudice can be a very valuable basis to get clear, to get free, and to really live a life which is intelligent, which is open to the reality. And as you have to again and again remember, nobody else can do it for you. Because it is in your conditioning, it is in your mind, it is in your imagination. And as you become aware of it, you will also be able to see what it does to you, how it prevents you from really understanding anybody. Today I was just telling to a friend that if you experiment one thing, sit on the side of the road or in a cafe or anywhere where you can observe people who are passing by. And observe consciously, watching every judgment which is coming up, every form of pride or prejudice which is coming up, and don't go with it. Don't go against it, but don't go with it also. And then start looking at this person in a conscious, sympathetic way. Maybe the person is already gone, but as you stay with it, you will start seeing something deeper, because you will start realizing that everyone is so unique. You will start seeing that everybody is in their way trying to come in terms with life. You will start recognizing that everybody is deep within vulnerable. deep within helpless, deep within very fragile. And when you consider it more carefully, you will also see that we all come with nothing and we have to leave everything behind and go with nothing. So, as Shakespeare calls it, it is much ado about nothing. In German, this is also very interesting, the translation, viel Lärm nichts. But it is valuable when we understand it, when we become conscious of it. Then we can play with the game, when we can play with the illusion, play with the relative aspect of life without getting lost in it. Otherwise, we are lost in it. We are lost in our pride and prejudices, going on in comparison and competition and trying to prove that I am good, I am right, I am special, I am better, and I know it. And often it's connected also with certain hurt feelings and conditionings which have made it more difficult for you to look into these things. So, unless you determine very consciously, very deliberately to let everything which is going on in you to become transparent to yourself. This is what you owe to yourself. To face yourself with all that what you are, without judging yourself, without going into comparison and competition. Just like a mirror which is mirroring everything which is coming in front of it. Look at it all. And this non-interfering, wakeful way of looking as a deep clearing value, a deep healing value, a deep transformative value, because you start seeing deeper than that what is obvious. You start recognizing the beauty behind every manifestation of life. You start realizing the wonder which is behind every moment, in every one. And the more you understand, the more deeply you consider and see, the more you realize that there is no need to go on wasting life in fighting and going into hate and anger and bitterness. It's all missed opportunities. And as your awareness deepens, it will become clear to you that this life is a present. It's a blessing. And if you go carelessly, you can indulge in the conditioned way of projecting and judging and calculating and move into suffering, hurt yourself, hurt each other, get very serious, very hard, and miss the chance of understanding and love. But when you see that there is this opportunity in us, and it is our individual responsibility to take the initiative and to confront all this. Nobody else can tell you and you will do it for somebody else, no. If somebody else says that you have to look into yourself, then you will automatically react. Who are you to tell me? That is how we are conditioned. Only when you start seeing that I need to consider it carefully, my pain, my suffering, my hurt feelings, my bitterness, my anger, all the negative processes in a deeper perception is coming from not understanding life and seeing it in the way it really is. That is why those who are insightful are reminding, wake up, confront your reality, see who you are, experience your true nature, awaken to the truth. But as you can also see how easily one agrees with all these things, but also forgets it the next moment and goes on as if, it was a nice story which was told, and the automatism overtakes. So the challenge which we have from the inner automatism is the biggest challenge. And when you start facing your pride and prejudice, you are also indirectly bringing attention to this inner automatism. That is why bringing your awareness to that what is taking place in you in every interaction, as much as possible in every moment, in a non-struggling way, in a non-serious way, but in a sincere way. This is what is required. The word responsibility, I write it in a little different way sometimes. Responsibility, the capacity to respond. Responsible presence, that is what you need to bring. Because you should be present. You are not just present in a kind of sleepy, sloppy way. You have to be wakeful. You have to be ready to respond. That means you are alert, you are awake. But it's not a tense alertness to fight and to defend. It's an alertness to see what is taking place. In this sense, responsible presence is a very valuable orientation. Bring attention to the subtle manifestations of pride and prejudice, and bring your attention to the roots of it in you. So it is not only saying, I have the pride, I have this prejudice, but what is behind it? What is the idea of yourself? What is connected with it? What are you holding? What are the fears? What are the calculations? What is the feeling of insecurity? What is behind it? You have to let it all become as much transparent as possible. And in this pursuit for the truth, in this courage to be honestly facing that what is, you awaken to your true glory. You awaken to your true self, to your divinity, to the wonder that you are. That is why those who are insightful are reminding again and again in different ways. Don't remain just outward oriented blindly. When you are connecting to the world, be also bringing the attention to that what is taking place in you. And this you can practice every day, wherever you are, whatever you are doing. In fact, we have the session period now, and many of you have been working with some of the reminders from the last period. It will be an additional support when you remember to bring this aspect into it and continue to work. If anybody has anything connected with the session reminder coming, if you want to say anything, if there's some clarity, you can also bring it up. So if nothing else is there, we sit the next half hour with the remembrance to be present and wakeful to all what is, without identifying with anything, without holding to anything, without trying to change anything. Whatever is there, let it come, let it arise. Look into the whole reality, what is visible and also what is undercurrently there. Be open to look at everything. With this orientation, without identifying with anything, with closed eyes, we sit the next half hour.